Wisconsin, who you are not looking at right now, are eager to make our debut after the success with our first season of the Changing Gears podcast, which you can listen to on Spotify. And so, now that we've decided to make the jump into the YouTube game, we figure we better kick it off with a cool video. And this is it. Right now, I'm driving the 2021 Jeep Gladiator Mojave. Specifically, my 2021 Jeep Gladiator Mojave. When this came out, a lot of people kind of made faces at it. You weren't really sure what it was. Everyone said it was a Wrangler with a bed, and Jeep was quick to correct you that it's not. It's its own unique chassis, it's its own unique car. But is it? Today, Ben and I have decided to break in my Gladiator with its first ever stint at off-roading. Now, we live in Minnesota, so our version of off-roading is going to be different than what you're seeing in Colorado, in Utah, and so we've decided to start off fairly simple, and we're going to be taking the 2021 Gladiator Mojave from Minnesota to Wisconsin on dirt. All in all, this will take us about 8 hours, and through it we've planned some specific trails. We're going to go up to the Mojave State Forest, we're going to go through that, we're going to be doing Big Tooth Ridge, we're going to be doing the Yellow Birch Trail, and some others along the way, along with the majority of our run being done on the Andy Dancer Trail. Through this we'll have some light terrain, you know, there won't be any significant rock climbs or anything like that, but these trails are rated moderate. So you're going to see some obstacles not exceeding a couple feet, some light water crossings, some light chassis flex, but nothing too crazy. So it'll just be a good, relatively easy break-in for the Jeep. Now I've had this for 2 months now. It now has 3,000 miles, and I bought it with brand new off the lot. Had 50 miles on it. And I've really liked it. And a lot of people question whether it's worth getting. And I'm going to make the argument for yes. First, the bad. Is it underpowered? Kinda. It's only a 6-cylinder, makes just shy of 300 horsepower and a similar number in torque. But it's all you really need. It does 0 to 60 in just over 8 seconds. It does the quarter mile in 16 seconds. Is it fast? No. Is it good enough? In my opinion, yes. The Mojave edition is special too. I specifically wanted this one and looked to find this one. I specifically wanted it in Stingray. I love the orange accents, and I wanted to make sure that I got the one I wanted. After all, these start at $45,000. The Mojave edition that I have all optioned up is knocking on the door of $60,000, and that's a lot for a Jeep. It's a lot for any car. The biggest difference with the Mojave starts on the outside of the car. For one, it's an inch higher and an inch wider than the base model Gladiator. The biggest thing is the Fox shocks all the way around it. This thing was made for desert running. In fact, it is Jeep's first desert-rated vehicle. With the dunes in mind, it needed to be quick, and it needed to be able to handle the ups and downs of running through the dunes. And I'm eager to say that the ride quality compared to the Gladiator is actually better, in my opinion, with this Fox shock system. The Mojave comes leather-wrapped. Everything is beautiful leather. Has this nice orange stitching, which I'm a big fan of. The infotainment center is amazing. It's one of the best in the industry, as a matter of fact, and that's saying a lot. You get some unique off-roading features. You get the off-roading pages that's going to tell you all your off-roading information, your tilt, your roll, your pitch, your altitude. The screen knows many of the trails. The navigation system knows many of the trails. Jeeps have a long history of being pretty poor driving experiences, and that's been a matter of fact. They wander all over the road quite a bit historically. The wind noise has been historically pretty poor. Draft in the wintertime if it's cold, they're usually a chilly ride. And many of those things have been improved. I'm not going to say fixed, because it's never really fixed. It wouldn't be a Jeep if it didn't do Jeep things. But it's definitely better. I would recommend getting the optional headliner. That does a ton to save on wind noise and to save on insulation, so on hot and cold days. It's definitely a more comfortable driving experience. As I said, everything leather, premium sound, great infotainment system, great seat, great steering wheel. Everything feels really nice in here. It is going to be a touch more wind noise than your average car, but look at it. I mean, it's flat front. wind hits it, makes noise. It doesn't bother me. Turn the radio up, or don't buy a Jeep if it bothers you. I think it's come a long way from the JL Wranglers of the last 10 years. I think those were really hit or miss. You really had to be a Jeep guy to put up and daily drive your JL Wrangler. But this is a really easy driving experience, and it's my daily driver. Again, I've had it for a couple months now, and I've had next to no issues with it. Fuel consumption, not great. I think the EPA tells you it's rated 21 miles to the gallon. I'll be honest with you, it doesn't. I drive it in a mix of city and street, and right now I am averaging 15.9, so 16 miles to the gallon. Not great. It's got a 22-gallon fuel tank, so you are filling up every 300 miles or so. Right now, gas isn't too expensive, at least here in Minnesota, so you can tolerate it, but if you're definitely living out in California or somewhere where the gas prices are a bit higher, it's definitely something you want to consider. It's fairly quiet, you know, it's not a roaring V8, it doesn't have any ridiculous exhaust. Would I maybe like it to look and sound a little meaner? Maybe, but maybe not. I really don't have too many issues with it. Now this is considered a mid-size pickup truck. It is not the same size as your F-150s, your Rams, your Silverados. It's going to be more on the same line as your Tundras, your Chevy Colorados, and it roughly weighs the same and stacks up comparably as far as horsepower goes. I personally think the Gladiator is the best looking. Of course, you could take the full roof off and have that experience. So if you're looking for a car like I was that does a little bit of everything, I needed something that was fully capable of handling a Minnesota winter. I'm a car guy, so I wanted something that was a little more fun. You know, it'd get boring to me just driving a Ram 1500 around all day. So I love that I can take the roof and the doors off in the summer. I love that I can take it off-roading. I love that it's comfy enough. It's still all leather lined. Great tech, great sound system, so it's comfortable. And of course, it's highly capable. The Mojave comes factory with 33-inch all-terrain tires. They're meaty, they're Wildtrak AT3s as a matter of fact, which I love. So many Jeep guys, or if you're familiar with the aftermarket, know when you throw bigger tires on a truck, you end up getting into a little hotter water with how it's gonna run with the transmission. Are you gonna be sitting on the highway at 5,000 RPM with your transmission and your rear diff trying to keep up with the big tires? And Jeep actually thought about this. So as I stated, the Mojave comes with factory 33s, and they also re-geared this to accommodate them. This is the only Jeep in the lineup with 410 gears out of the factory. The rest have 373s. It keeps it really quiet, keeps it really smooth on the highway. It's maybe a little leggier off the line if you were drag racing this against the equal Wrangler. Wrangler's gonna beat it, okay? But when you're sitting on the highway, cruising 70 miles an hour at 1800 RPM, at 2200 RPM, quiet, comfy, smooth. She's a road tripper, and that's what I liked her for. I can cruise this everywhere, do anything, have fun in the summer, drive through the snow in the winter. It can tow, believe it or not. This does have the towing package on it. And again, I'm not telling you to buy this as your toy hauler, but I'm telling you if you have a boat or a camper and you take it out, you know, a dozen times a year, this will be perfectly happy with it. Towing capacity on my particular Jeep is 6,500 pounds. It does have a hitch. And for me, that's fine. You know, like I said, this is not your heavy duty pickup. You're not going to be pulling your horse trailer, you're not going to be pulling your car trailer, but almost every boat that I know of is under 6,500 pounds. If you got to pull a car, you know you can do it. If you want to pull your little camper, it can do it. One thing I will knock a little bit is the payload's on the lower side. It's only a 1,200 pound payload. So if you're pushing up against that 6,000 pound towing, if your boat's 6,000 pounds, you know, you can probably assume that your tongue weight is going to be 600-700 pounds on the hitch. You know, that's 60% of your payload right there. So that's something to consider. If you got a full load 3 guys in the truck and a trailer, you're pushing it. So will it take it? Yes. Would I recommend ever doing it consistently over long periods of time? Probably not. You don't want to replace this transmission.
Welcome to Arby's. What can I get for you?
Hi, can I just get 2 classic beef and cheddars, please?
Sure. Anything else?
Nope.
644.
Thank you.
There you go.
Appreciate it.
Have a good day.
You too. So because it's mine, I'm of course a little bit biased. And if you're looking for more of an unbiased review, I'm gonna try to give that to you. And I'll be honest, there's certain things I don't like about it. But albeit fairly little. But like I said, miles per gallon, not there. 16, that's pretty tough in this day and age. There's not a lot of stuff out there getting less than 18 miles per gallon, especially out of a V6. So that is one of my biggest, that is actually the biggest knock on this. Other than that, there's minute things. The automatic stop-start, you can't permanently turn off. I'm not a big automatic stop-start guy, so I do find myself getting in the truck and turning it off every single time. And is it annoying to do that every single time? Yeah, it is. As far as off-roading features, one of the biggest differences people want to know is the differences between the Mojave and the Rubicon. And so the Rubicon, I'm gonna tell you, if you're a real off-roader, not to say that I'm not, but if you're climbing rocks, you're taking this out to Colorado, you like to get 3 wheels off the ground, this might not be the one you want. I would probably stick with the Rubicon. You get front lockers in the Rubicon, you don't get front axle lockers in the Mojave. Mojave only locks the rear axle. You also don't get the sway bar disconnect in the Mojave. You basically get your 4 high, your 4 low, your 4 automatic, rear locking diff, and the off-road plus mode. That's the extent of it here. Is that more than enough for like 95% of people? Yes. But if you're that 5%, you might want to lean Rubicon. So when we look at price, as far as the mid-size pickup trucks go, when you're looking at the Tacoma, you're looking at the Colorado, you're maybe looking at the Honda Ridgeline or trucks like it, this is definitely the most expensive one. And it's a Jeep, and it has a 3.6 liter V6. All the others in the class are also 6 cylinders. So you kind of start to ask yourself what makes it worth about 20 grand more than the rest of them. When I was justifying the price to myself, I thought long and hard about the market, I thought about depreciation, and I thought about what Jeep means to people. To me, when you have a 15-year-old Chevy Colorado, nothing exciting about that. But the Jeep badge is timeless, and Jeeps bring money no matter what. And they keep this simple enough where, in my opinion, the tech won't go out of date. It's useful tech, but it's not, you know, Mercedes-Benz over-the-top sonar scanning night vision tech that will go out of date. It's pretty straightforward. And if you've ever looked at buying a Jeep, you know that Jeeps always hold their value. It's almost impossible in this day and age to get any Jeep that runs and isn't completely rusted out for less than like 8 grand. If you want a used 80,000 mile Jeep Wrangler, still like 25, 30 grand. And so when I made the bold decision to spend almost 60 grand on this sucker, I knew that it was gonna hold its value. And so I'm confident, and I hope this video doesn't prove me wrong in time, but I'm hoping in, you know, maybe 3-5 years when I'm over this thing, if I ever get over this thing, I'll point out, I really do think I'll be able to get a good sum of money back for it. If I liquidate this thing in 4 years with 50,000 miles, I gotta believe I'm sitting on almost a $40,000 truck. Will someone pay that? Will I get it in trade-in? Maybe, maybe not, but it'll be a hell of a lot more than the Chevy Colorado is worth with 50,000 miles on it. And so this is a bit of a long-term play. And like I said, you get all the fun bits that the Chevy Colorado and the Tacoma can't do. Like the roof coming off. this is gonna put us back, I think, where we maybe came down. I have no idea. Okay, let's actually get out of. Let's go back to too high. Let's go traction control off, because that was more fun, at least until we get stuck.
I should have tried to put these up. That was funny. I thought you were going to go through it again, so it's like, oh. Let's get the windows up. What?
So my gimbal's not.
I know. I was having a rough time.
Probably think long and hard before doing something stupid, because being stuck out here sounds about a worst case scenario. Not being able to call anyone.
I know.
Getting eaten by horse flies.